The first thing you need to do is figure out your budget, the entire amount that you're going to spend. And that's not the price of the car, because you got to factor in car insurance, and now, especially now, the gas mileage that the car gets, how much you're going to spend on the car to drive it. A car is not an investment, so you should definitely look at it as an expense and try to minimize that expense, especially in 2026. But yeah, definitely figure out how much you're going to spend. That's step one. And just before I move on to the next thing, you really need to consider how much it's going to cost to maintain the vehicle. Obviously, there's a lot of variability with maintenance and how reliable a vehicle is, but you definitely need to keep some money in the bank to have it maintained. I mean, that goes without saying, and that's all part of finding out your budget. You really need to kind of have that money set up to repair it if you need to. What I'm trying to say is don't blow your whole wad getting the best car that you can afford and then spend it all on just getting the car. You kind of need to have a little bit saved over so you can maintain it if you need to. And that's really sort of a strategy that you could use in your advantage. Let's say you have 10 grand to spend on a car, but maybe a better idea is to buy a car for 6 grand and then keep that 4 grand aside to maintain it. What you should really try to do is get a car that is up to speed on all its maintenance records. It's a $10,000 car, but it also needs $1,000 in repair. You don't want to have that situation on your hands and be spending more money than you can afford on your vehicle. So the next thing is just research the reliability. You need to figure out what car is right for you in your situation. Do a lot of the work on the computer. Don't just show up and ask for information from somebody that's trying to sell you the car, because honestly, a salesman's going to tell you whatever you want to hear to get you to buy the car. That's their job. Yeah, just look for common problems, check for recalls, watch a bunch of YouTube reviews on the vehicle. I don't know what else I can say. Just do your research. Another thing to consider is that mileage isn't everything. In my opinion, something that's more important is how well the vehicle has been maintained, and can they prove that it's been maintained. If they have a lot of receipts, it's one owner, and it also has low mileage, then the low mileage thing is just sort of a bonus. It's just kind of crazy to think about that a 150,000 mile car might actually be better than a car that's only got 60,000 miles on it. I mean, that's a possibility. So just definitely think about that before you just look at the mileage or even filter by mileage on some of these car search websites. Another thing is don't shop based on emotion. It's definitely important to keep that in mind. You don't want to just jump on it because it's there and you like it. I mean, when you're buying a car, it's kind of an exciting process, especially after you get that first drive and it looks good, it feels good. It's a really big decision, especially if 10 grand to me is a lot of money. And for some people, that's nothing and they buy new cars all the time, but it's a big purchase to me. So there's just a lot of things to consider, and it sucks because you might have to buy a car on one day. You're like, okay, I got to have a car for work next week and I'm here, this one's good, let's go. Let's just go with that one. And yeah, there's just so much to consider. So definitely don't buy on emotion. Checking the vehicle history is really important as well. I mean, we've all heard of Carfax, and it's kind of bullshit, but kind of not. I mean, it's really helpful for a car that's been maintained at a dealership, and you can really see what they've done to it. There's a lot of notes that can be left, but I looked at a car one time, not this last time, but before I bought my previous car, and I looked at it and he was like, oh yeah, it's never been in a wreck. And then I opened up the hood and clearly it had been in a wreck. It had a new engine in it. You could see where they hammered the wheel well back in, and I was like, what the fuck? This thing has definitely been in a wreck. The Carfax on it was clean though. So it's sort of like, if it's got a clean Carfax and vehicle history report, that doesn't mean that the car has nothing wrong with it. The title status is also really important to look at. Never buy a car without seeing the title, especially if you're going to a private owner. You want to see the title, and you want to make sure that the name on the title is the same name as the person that's selling you the car. I don't think it's awkward to look at somebody's license. That's I don't see a problem with that, just to make sure the address matches the address on the title. If they're kind of going to be squirrely about that, well, then just walk. You don't want to get yourself in a sketchy situation where you're handling money with some stranger, especially if you're going to pay with cash, dollar bills, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm kind of getting lost in thought here, but the title status is important. Also a lien, getting a title that still has a lien on it, the person who's selling it also still owes money on it, seems like it's going to be a pain in the ass. So just maybe don't do that. You need the title to get the car insured. At least that's how it works in Tennessee. I would just honestly avoid that because I think it's just too much of a pain in the ass. And if you've got a budget that's similar to mine, like you're looking for a car that's less than 10 grand, don't go messing with, giving somebody cash that owes a bunch of money on it. Seems like you could be putting yourself in an unnecessary situation. If the title's got a lien on it, then yeah, don't mess with that. You got to avoid a lot of the common scams and just learn about some of the common scams, especially if you're buying a cheaper car. There can be cars that have had the odometer rolled back, and especially now with climate change, there's a lot of vehicles out there that have been flooded. So it's definitely worth it to take your car to a mechanic and even pay a mechanic to do a vehicle inspection if you need, because that way somebody qualified has hooked up a diagnostic scan tool to it, and you can find out if the previous owner has cleared any of the codes. So the codes, when like you get a check engine light and you're driving, the code will tell you what is going on with your vehicle. There's simple, cheap ways to clear the code so the check engine light goes away. It's important for the buyer to know that the codes haven't just been cleared. You want to know if there's anything wrong with the vehicle. So definitely have a mechanic look at the car before you buy it. Yeah, and just make sure that the mechanic is going to check everything. They're not going to just look it over really quickly. When I was really young, I think might have been my first car, I took it to a mechanic, and it was a really cheap car. I think I paid like 12 or $1,300 for my first car, but the mechanic just kind of walked out, opened the hood, gave it a look around, and he's, shook my hand and was like, "I'm glad you're buying your first car and it looks really good, but now that I'm older, he kind of didn't really do me any favors doing that." He was probably really busy with a lot of other stuff, and just maybe he knew the guy that was selling the vehicle or something, but it ended up being a really good car, so I can't fault him too much. But what I'm trying to say is have somebody look over all of it and respect the mechanics out there. Car mechanics get a really bad rap, but man, they have a really difficult job. No other trade is like the car mechanics trade, because if you had an electrician over to your house, you wouldn't expect them to come check anything wrong with your electric for free. Why would you expect that from a car mechanic? Like, pay them for their time, for their knowledge. That's, these people are kind of entitled. They'll go to a mechanic and they'll be like, "Well, I'm not going to pay you for anything unless you find something that's wrong for it." Like, their time is valuable, just like any other trade, any other profession. If somebody knows something that you don't know, then they have power over you. But there's a certain amount of trust that needs to be involved when you go do business with somebody, when you choose to go have your car repaired at a mechanic. Now, if you find a reason to believe that they are trying to rip you off, well, then go get another mechanic. It's that simple, and tell people that you don't know about that situation. That's kind of a side tangent, but what you really need to get a reliable used vehicle is getting the engine looked at and making sure everything's going to last and there's no major repairs that need to be done. And another thing is just making sure that you test drive it for long enough. You're going to be driving this vehicle a lot potentially, so you want to make sure you're not just taking it for a drive around the block and then coming back and handing out 10 grand. Take it on the highway, take it for a good 20 or 30 minute drive. Ideally, what you can do is you can show up when the engine is cold. Like, before you just jump in and fire it up, see if it's been driven recently, check for the smoke that comes out the back. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do to, that's not what I'm going into on this video, but I'm just saying that you definitely want to make sure and get a good ride. See if it's something that you're going to like. See if the car starts to drive differently as you start to move down the road. All right, so last thing I want to say is just be willing to walk away. That's like the most important thing. Don't let the salesman put that slime on you. I had a salesman once and he was like, "Mikey," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know you. Why are you talking to me like this? Like, we're best friends from way back." It's just weird, man. No hate on that salesman. He's doing his job. I'm sure he's really good at making that sale and pushing somebody over the edge that's kind of on the fence. But you got to know that they're trying to get something out of you, and your biggest power on all this is just knowing that you can say no at any moment and you have the ability to walk away. Just know that there will be another car. And that's the goal, really. It's not just to find a reliable car. It's to find a reliable car that's not going to surprise you in 5 months by breaking down. You're really trying to get a good read on the person selling the car, more so than you are on details about the car itself. Both of them are important, but don't neglect the person who's selling the car. So if it's a private owner, you kind of want to ask them, like, why are they selling it? Have they always lived in this area? And why that's important is, because I'm in the South, we don't really have snowstorms here. But if they just drove it down from Maine or Massachusetts or Colorado, well, then chances are that car might be way more at risk for rust. So it's just important to know the history of the vehicle, and you're trying to get a good read on the person selling it. I mean, does it look like somebody that would maintain a car, or does it look like somebody that's just gonna never change the oil and then sell it when it starts having problems? Because that's the kind of person that you don't want to buy a car from. Let's be honest, the economy is in the shitter right now, and there's a lot of people flipping cars. And what I mean by flipping cars is they're buying broke down, bad cars, and they're fixing them up and trying to sell them for a profit. And they're doing that with junkyard parts, or just by doing sketchy stuff to like fix stuff to just get it running. And I mean, you can get lucky with somebody that's flipping a car and it can turn out to be a good, reliable vehicle, but you can also get burned badly doing that. So that's about all I have to say for this video. Good luck finding your next used car. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful. Feel free to subscribe if you want. This is Just Mike talking, and we'll see you in the next one.